business owners that puts them in front of a global audience. And in behind those shows is a whole range of things, from digital magazines to social media to blogging to email to lead generation, just a whole range of things. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Everyday Business Show. I'm your host, Tony Lontis, and today we have another amazing young man to talk to. I hope he doesn't mind me calling him a young man because I feel quite elderly in his presence. He's an amazing young guy who's done amazing things with podcasts. But before I introduce you to Max, here's what you need to remember. If you're listening live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, don't forget to say hi and let us know what you think of the show. Anything that we talk about today, including my guest's contact details, will be available in the show notes wherever you're watching this show. Now, just remember that all of these shows now go live to Everyday Women's Network, where you can catch up on all the shows under the Tony TV channel. Now, each and every week, we do an acknowledgement of country, and this is special recognition of the important part our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders play in our country's cultural identity. So today, I want to respectfully acknowledge the people of the Yugambeh language region on the Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia, the traditional owners of the land on which we broadcast and meet, and I want to pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging, and all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people watching or listening today. Now, our guest, Max, has decided that we should call our interview today How to Scale Your Business via Podcast Guesting Campaigns. And before I introduce you to Max, here's what you need to know. Max Novak is the founder of Novacast, a podcast booking specialist. Having had hundreds of conversations and hours with podcast hosts and guests, Max now knows exactly what it takes to be featured on podcasts out there, and there's a lot of them, but mainly how to conduct a real podcast campaign strategy that provides results. This results in a highly personalized approach to podcasting campaign that will be conducted according to your wants and needs, your ICP, and your desired outcome. Max stumbled into the world of podcasting, saw the beauty that lies within it, the world's best community where people share their experience, expertise, and knowledge with others. People reveal their best kept secrets for their listeners just to make the world a better place. That's pretty amazing, isn't it, Max? Now, Max has made it his mission to help leaders and innovators get booked on top-rated podcasts in their specific niche. Novacast has pledged to only work with sustainably conscious and responsive brands and individuals so that they also indirectly contribute to making this world a better place, and by helping these experts share their knowledge with others in need of it. Max's quote is, "Because any moment might be our last, everything is more beautiful because we will never be here again at this same place at this same moment." Welcome to the show, Max.
Wow, Tony, what an amazing introduction. Thank you so much.
I'm delighted to have you here. Max fell really ill last time we had this podcast planned. So we've been trying to get together for a while now, and I'm so glad we finally got to record our show together. How's your day been? I know it's very early yet.
Yeah, it's early, but bright day. Finally got some sun back here in Belgium, so really happy about that.
I was just going to say, people, I'm in Australia, Max is in Belgium. Don't you love modern technology? Max, I wanted to get the audience on a bit of a journey. How did you get started doing the work that you do?
Great question. So basically, it's quite simple, actually. I just started with a background in marketing, and then over time,
Ah,
Yeah, literally the day that I finished my studies, so that's 3, 4 years ago now. The day I finished my studies, I was like, okay, let's go do something, being independent. And
Mm.
a few months before that, I kind of really stumbled into podcasting, as you said,
Yeah.
and the rest is history. I just started growing the agency slowly, slowly, and
Yes.
now we're here, working with clean tech brands all over the world, and it's been an amazing journey, and really looking forward to the future also.
And I can tell the audience just from the short time that I've known Max and been talking to Max, his business has just grown and grown almost from an idea into a fully fledged business. What is it that you like about working for yourself, Max?
The freedom, I think, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
well, there's the possibility to really do everything you want, right? I do
Yeah.
believe that your personality reflects in your business, and obviously, I want to make my business as perfect as possible, right?
Yeah.
Just like myself, trying to optimize
Yes.
myself. And I really like clean tech brands, sustainability. So I had the possibility to make a choice to go in that direction, which I really
Mm-hmm.
loved.
Yes.
And it's really cool, you really get to do whatever you like. You can outsource what you don't like to do, which is also a very big plus.
That's right.
And yeah, just the lifestyle, I'd say. It's really cool.
Yeah. Fantastic. Max, how do you get your clients on great podcasts?
So that took some time to really discover how to be really the best in the field, let's say.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, basically the way I ensure quality, first of all, is keeping the team quite small. So it's just
Yes.
me and my executive assistant.
Mhm.
As in the beginning, I really wanted to grow, but I'm kind of like most startup founders. I like to keep things in control, right?
Mhm.
So by
Mhm.
doing them myself.
Yeah.
And the way we really do it is by extensively researching the clients when there is the
Mhm.
onboarding to
Mhm.
understand perfectly what they are all about, their
Mhm.
mission, vision, ICP, everything, everything.
Mhm.
And once that's really known, we can begin to do really the deep research, like
Mhm.
looking for all the great podcasts that could be a fit for you.
Yeah.
And so for that, we take into consideration a lot of things but it's not like just reach of your podcast, like are
Yes.
you in the top 5%? It's also like engagement with your audience,
Mhm.
loyalty, credibility, authority. There's a
Mhm.
lot of things you can take into account.
Yeah.
Once you found a perfect podcast, it's all a matter of reaching out in the good way. So you got
Mhm.
to make a perfect pitch. You can make your bio one sheet if you want, right?
Mhm.
Making it
Mhm.
easier for podcast host. And there's all the details from finding the right email to finding the right platform where to contact, right?
Mhm.
And once the host has said yes, then you begin the scheduling. And once
Mhm.
the scheduling is done, you can just wait out. And once the episode is out, then you can begin your social media redistribution, which
Oh,
most people actually
absolutely.
forget a bit about. And so that's also very important.
I was going to say, I'm going to come back to that again in a minute. Max, what are your suggestions about crafting a perfect pitch? If you're wanting to guest on one of those top rating podcasts, what are your suggestions?
Well, I think the first and most important thing is go check out their website because they might have a
Mm,
long questionnaire with questions. Because if you send out 15 emails and they don't even open up their emails, well, it's kind of loss of time, right?
yeah.
Imagining now that it's via email, well, you want to have 2 or 3 topic points that you talk about, right? So
Mm,
for me, it's how to craft perfect podcast guesting campaign,
mm,
right? Um, Try to find 2, 3 topic points that you're really comfortable in and really can
mm,
be an expert and stand out in, right?
mm,
You want to come to the podcast host with a lot of value, not just
mm.
your own experience, because everybody's got some experience that might be
Yes.
interesting, right? So you want to be specific about that. And so if it's via email, try to keep it short, simple, and super easy to understand. Don't try to uh, tell how much you like the show. I hope you like the show, right? But try to keep it consistent, right? And then you can have some follow-ups, obviously, because podcast hosts do get a lot of emails. So you want to
They
be able
do.
to give them the opportunity kindly follow up with value and say, hey, I think this could be a really great episode
Mm,
because I've seen your past few shows, and this could be something new, right?
mm.
That could be interesting for your listeners. Something that's more the mentality you should have when you reach out to top rated
Yeah.
podcasts.
And don't be spammy is another key, isn't it, Max?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you want to give the opportunity to respond, but also not just enforce it. It's like you cannot force love. Well, this is the same, right? This is exactly the same.
Yes,
If someone doesn't want to interview you, just let it go. It's fine. There's a lot of great podcasts out there that
there is.
might want to interview you, right?
Mm. Max, why do you think a podcast guesting campaign is so helpful for business owners, brands, authors, all sorts of people? Why is it so helpful?
Right, so I'm not perfect and I've done my own mistakes. So in the beginning, the mistakes I made personally were just putting people on great podcasts, which is
Mhm,
great. But then I did some thinking and I thought like, how can I optimize this? And
mhm,
over time, I realized that having really a campaign, just like a marketing campaign, this is the
mhm,
same. Just we
mhm,
just use one channel, one medium, which is
mhm,
podcast, but the
mhm,
principle is the same. And so I thought, like, why not make it more consistent? Over 6 months, we'll book you on 6 or 12 podcasts, but that will be really specific, not just appearing on podcast for the sake of it, right?
yeah.
And I realized that with my first and second client, I was like, okay, let's
Mm,
make this really good. And
yes.
so now it's really like we'll get you just on 6 of 12 podcasts, not like 70, which is crazy,
Mm,
I think.
yeah.
But they will be really specific and they can support even your current ongoing marketing campaign, right?
Mm,
And then you can create great social media content. And then you can create a social like media blogs,
mm,
resources on your website. So there's
mm.
plenty of options, but I try to be like super specific and make thoughtful connections.
So, Max, your services is really about finding the right fit for your guests and the podcast that they should go on. So it's really quite a in-depth lot of work for you to do to get your client onto the best podcast for them. And it may not necessarily be the highest ranking podcast in the world. It may be just specific to them and what they do, what their business is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about reach, it's more about
Mm,
engagement, right?
yes.
But you do want to always get on high quality podcast, there has to be good quality audio,
Yes.
there has to be at least a few episodes out, I think,
Yeah.
even though some young podcasts are really, really good,
Yes.
it does bring some credibility saying that you've been doing this for like 5 years, right?
Yes. Absolutely. Max, how did your agency grow? How did you grow it to the stage that it is now? Because when we first started talking, it was just an idea in your head, and now it's a fully fledged entrepreneurial endeavor on your behalf. Can you talk to the audience about some of those things that you did to grow the agency?
Well, I suffered a lot. No, I'm joking.
I,
I'd say it's a lot of ups and downs,
yeah.
right? In the beginning, it's quite hard, right? Because you
Yes.
don't expect it to be that slow and that long.
Mm.
And I've really put like my life in it, right? I
Yes.
I, I talk about a lot about my business.
Mm.
I think about it constantly. You try to
Yes.
optimize it, and in order to really do something you love and
Mm.
something that you can be proud of and something that can grow on the long term, you really got to put a lot of yourself in it.
Mm.
The first 2 years are always the most difficult ones, and you
Yes.
can expect to not expect results,
Mm.
right? And it's just keep on thinking of where do you want to go, and I'm extremely disciplined, I think. So it's
Yes.
just showing up every day, even if
Yes.
it's just for a couple of hours when you're not feeling like it, right?
Yes.
Trying to have an extremely good routine. So I wake
Yes.
up, yeah, I'll try to take a cold shower, some sun, some workout that gets you
Yep.
worked up. The focus is on, then you can start to work.
Mm.
Take good breaks, take
Mm.
your 2 weeks, 2 days per week off. But the main thing is really having a vision of what you'd like to achieve, right? Because in the beginning, I didn't know I want to be in clean tech and sustainability, right? The
Yes.
and I had to have some life experience going to Australia, doing a road trip to
Yes.
discover that, right? I'm
Yes.
gonna go soon to Bali, maybe
Yes.
doing a yoga retreat, who
Yes.
knows? And that can help you really in your business. So I
Mm.
try to really yeah, as you see, put everything I have in that business, and
Mhm.
I think it's like really the only way to craft something that's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Max, what is it that you love the most about podcasts, podcasting, and podcasters?
I th I'd say there's two things. There's first of all the community,
Mhm.
which is the first reason why I got into this business. I was like, well, everybody's so nice. And which is the second reason is because people are here to share information, knowledge, experience, expertise.
Mm,
And I really love that mentality of just like giving to, yes, you do get visibility, do get sponsors, you get to make a living,
mm,
obviously, right? But the mentality behind it is really good. It's just like, hey, how can we help this world becoming a
mm.
better place? And I've seen this with every podcast, whether you're in SaaS, software as a service,
Yes.
entrepreneurship, health, food, stress relief, or
Mm,
even clean tech and sustainability. These brands are
mm,
also here to make this world more green and a better
mm,
place.
mm,
So it's really all of them mostly are really trying to do a good thing here,
mm.
and you can really feel it in the conversations you have with people all over. It's truly amazing. It's really a blessing to be in this community.
Max, I wanted to ask you something that I didn't discuss with you beforehand, but I'm pretty sure you'll be able to answer. There's with so many podcasts out there, you want to stand out as a guest. So, what are your tips for being a good podcast guest?
Ooh, that's a really good question. A tough one a bit. I'd say, yeah, really try to analyze what's out there. Try to listen
Mhm,
to a lot of podcasts. Like I listen to 356 podcasts per year, probably, right?
mhm,
So literally every day. And yeah, I'd say try to really have an interesting topic. Try to
yeah,
discover what works, what not. Because
mhm.
even my own pitch, I
Yes,
get on podcast, and like since literally the very beginning, I've
yes,
changed my pitch 1,000
yes,
times. Every
yes,
time I get
yes,
an idea,
yes.
I'm like, ooh, I'll write this down,
I just,
right? So so of course your pitch won't be perfect at the beginning, and it does take like really a long time. Like even now,
Mm,
our pitches
yeah,
are constantly different because I'm like, well,
yes,
maybe this could be nice, or this could be
yes,
nicer, or because we do
correct.
everything really personalized. So
Mhm,
try to put that in your pitch, but I'd say start with a short paragraph
mm,
first.
mm,
Make it highly personalized. Show you did your research. Like,
mm,
hi, I noticed, or I took a deep dive into your podcast, and I noticed your previous episodes talk about this and that.
mm, mm,
Or I saw your show description, and I thought that was really interesting
mm.
because da na na. And you kind of show your own thoughts, your own mentality, right? Try to get a connection with the podcast host.
Yeah.
Then I'd say the second paragraph, I'd make something within the lines of, well, I've been talking to this person. Well, that's for me when I pitch a client, but in your
Yes, yes,
case,
yes.
it would more be like, well, I'm the CEO or founder, or this is what I do, right?
Mm,
And well, this is what we do. This is me a bit in a few phrases. This is what we've accomplished, maybe.
mm,
And then you can get just to two or three topics. You
mm.
can have even like one main topic and two subtopics, if
Yeah.
you really want to make it easy. Try to not include too many links.
Mm,
So you don't want to get into spam, which is
yeah.
actually very important. It's like outbound marketing. You
Mm,
don't want to get into spam.
mm,
Um, Next important thing I'd say afterwards is you got a choice. You
mm,
can put two, three links with your LinkedIn, with
mm.
your website. That's
Yes.
doable.
They're the
Or
two
you just
important ones, aren't they? LinkedIn for business and
yeah.
entrepreneurs. LinkedIn and your website are pretty important, aren't they?
Yeah, depending on what platforms you're on most. I know also some people
Mm.
use more Instagram, for example, or
Yeah.
TikTok. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yes.
So try to put your average reach in your total reach.
Mm,
That could be interesting.
mm,
But then, yeah, the choice is having two, three links or having a bio one sheet. That can be a PDF.
mm.
We personally use something more custom, right? Because we try to
Yes.
really stand out.
Yeah.
Um, and you can even ask at the end, like, hey, is this the right fit? If not, well, um, no problems.
Mm,
I understand. I know you're busy. You got your own schedule. Maybe you're
mm.
even booked out for the whole year.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of it. You can keep it simple. Don't
Yeah.
try to have a whole
Mm,
3 pages. Nobody's gonna read that.
yeah. Max, once you get your client as a guest on a particular podcast, Are there any tips that you give them before they go on the podcast?
Yeah, so this is not even included in the service, but I like to kind of give free tips and
Yes.
tricks away, like what microphone to buy. This isn't even the best, but I'll get a better one soon, hopefully. But yeah, I do send over some material. I'm like, hey,
Yes.
keep this in touch. We also sent like a checklist, like, hey, just check all of these before you get
Yes.
on the podcast. And so what I do with the checklist is there's pre-interview, during interview, post-interview. So what do
Yay.
you do before, during the interview, afterwards? Because there's the before interview, so turn all notifications off. Try to prepare
Yes.
this. Look at your own again. Look at the all the
Check your
social media
lighting,
links.
check your microphone, make sure you've got the right
Exactly.
links, make sure your
Everything.
lighting's good, dress professionally, know what you're going to talk about. All of those things are important for the podcaster to remember you as a guest. Because once they do, they then start recommending you to other podcasters, because podcasters talk to each other all the time, don't they, Max?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I talk to a lot of podcasts myself all
Yes.
the time also,
Yes.
which is very nice actually. There's a lot of very good connections and even other um, people just that are just in the podcast industry, there's podcast booking agencies for other uh, like entrepreneurship or just SaaS or real
Yes.
estate, there's
Yes.
really some good guys out there, and I like to connect with anyone. So yeah,
Mm,
we do talk and we
mm.
help each other out, trying to just be the best agencies possible for our clients, right?
Yes.
Because and that's also quite impressive is that
Mm.
I don't see anyone as competition, although
Good.
it's more like, hey, how can we help each other out? How
Yeah.
can we help other people out mostly,
Mm.
Um, then there was the part of doing the interview. So yeah, try to talk close to the microphone, try to
Yes.
be very, I'm not a perfect talker. I'm non native English speaker, right? So I know I'm not perfect
Yes.
myself, but over time you do get a kind of a feel like it. I've never even really tried to prepare for a podcast interview because I like it to be like super casual conversation.
And natural and
Yeah.
flowing. Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
so some people try to talk a bit faster, some try to talk a bit slower,
Mm.
Try to listen to yourself. I know it's annoying, but try to listen to yourself afterwards and be like, hey, how could I be more nice to listen to, right?
That's
And
right.
then I think that this is also very undermined, but very important, is what to do after the podcast interview, which is
Yes. And that was
basically,
my next question. This is
okay.
really important for guests to know about. Go, Max.
Yeah, so basically what you want to do is leverage the content you have, right? So you've
Correct.
got 30 or 40 minutes of great content. And so just don't repost it on LinkedIn. I've done it myself recently, so I'm not perfect, right? But the perfect thing you'd want to do is make a blog article, put that on your website, repost that on LinkedIn, maybe even a few times,
Yes.
just and the best thing to do really is make snippets. So that's also something we've recently started providing is like
Oh,
we'll
well
cut
done.
yeah, we'll cut like literally the we'll take the best parts of the episode out. Like, hey, this is really interesting. We can put some subtitles. You
Yeah.
can do literally everything you want, right?
Yeah.
And then just post it over 1 week, 2 weeks of content. Like one podcast interview is a whole week worth of great content,
Yes.
right? And it's evergreen content, and it's just credibility, authority, showing being transparent with your brand, even for myself, this is great, if
Yes.
let's say a marketing person from a clean brand is listening to this, make sure to hit me up.
Absolutely.
But basically
Because they're your
it's like,
favorite people to work with, aren't they, Max? You work with a lot of people, but they're your
yeah.
really favorite.
Yes, which is also kind of a reason I really got into that direction because, for example, SaaS people, they are really more behind the computers and all of that, and so they are kind of really focused on the numbers behind the campaign, which of course is very important. And the way I kind of describe it, it's you can divide it in two parts basically. There's the measurable and the non-measurable part of a podcast guesting campaign, and let's say the measurable is return on investment. So I can try to calculate the number of listeners, the number of minutes listened, and then you divide that by the cost, and then you get your $0.16 per
Yes.
listener, for example.
Yes.
And you can get the views on your content. But then there's the non-measurable, which is just credibility,
Mm,
authority, content
mm,
creation.
mm.
Um, and it's also just planting a seed, right? If
Yes.
you just plant a seed, you water it up, which is your social media redistribution,
Mhm.
and you just wait for it to grow.
Yeah.
What you'd want is something typing in your name on Spotify
And
and
going.
seeing,
Hmm.
yeah, and seeing 6 to 12 of the best podcasts, and you are on all of them.
Yeah.
So that's really kind of the goal here,
Yeah.
is to create that establishment.
Yeah. Max, we've talked a lot about the fact that you've grown this agency from an idea to a full-blown agency. Just a quick question, as a young person in a new entrepreneurial business, what are some of the things that help keep you focused and productive? What are the things that work for you?
That's a really good question. It's just working out a lot. So,
Yeah.
health, I think, is the top priority. So I've always worked out, but
Mm,
now working out is part of my work in some
mm,
sense,
mm.
in the way that I'll wake up, I'll get in some sun, drink some water, put on some cold water because that kind of wakes you up, right?
Yeah.
I'll try to, I've even tried a bit of yoga, or just
Mm.
any kind of movement is great.
Yes.
You
Mm.
just go a bit around. I'll go outside the house and just stay in the sun sometimes for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It does look a bit stupid, but it does wonders. Um, and yeah, then I'll try to. I'm not an expert on this, right? But
Yeah.
intermittent fasting. So it's
Yes.
just, well, basically what I do is just I'll wake up. I'll start, let's say, at 8:30 working,
Mm.
and until 12, these are the most productive hours of my day. So I'll just
Yes.
work for like 4 hours straight, and
Yes.
then I'll try to take like a good big break. I'll eat,
Yes.
I'll move a bit around. I can even go running, which is
Yes.
something I don't do a lot, but it's really good for focus.
Yes.
Keep that brain active. It's
Mm.
kind of more the thing. Don't when
Yeah.
you take a break, don't go on screens. I try
Mm.
to avoid that a bit. I got some blue glasses. The
Ah,
glasses for blue
yes.
light?
Yes.
Yeah, in
Yes.
the morning and in the evening, I try to put them on so you get better sleep. Oh yeah,
Ah,
8 hours of sleep is
yes.
what I aim for, although
Yes.
sometimes it's like 6, 7, a bit
Yeah.
less.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I really try to keep it very consistent,
Mm.
day in, day out, kind of the same.
Yeah.
Which is kind of difficult for me because I really like adventure, but
Mm.
it does work a lot.
Yeah.
Those cold showers, working
Yes.
out, sauna, those type of things are really, really good for your health,
Yeah.
and then for your focus also, eating well, all of that. So
Mm.
I'd say that's the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Max, you've got a special offer for the audience today. Would you like to tell them about it?
Yeah, right. So it was the link, right? Because
Yes,
I think
it's
we
the
got.
link
Mhm.
to your podcast training at Novacast.
Yeah, so this is something we could give like to clients before an interview,
Yes.
right? And it's what I talked about before with the
Yes.
checklist and all of that, right? So it's just, if you want to get on podcast, I'm not saying this will make you a great guest. What will make you a great
Yeah.
guest is following these and taking action on it
Mm.
for a couple of interviews. And then
Yes.
the time you get comfortable, because it's not like a checklist will make you a very good guest. No,
No.
but it can help, right? It's
Yes.
it's putting you in the right direction, and it always starts with having the right mentality,
Mm.
putting in the action, and then seeing the results over time, being patient.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'd see in this what to avoid, what you should really do,
Yes.
what should you talk about,
Mm.
and the checklist, and then there's some other things you'd have to discover by
Mm.
yourself on the link.
Yes.
But yeah, hopefully this helps you a lot, and any feedback is also more than welcome. Anything that you can think of that could help others, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to talk to anyone in
Absolutely.
the
I can
industry or
vouch for
trying to
that.
learn.
Max is very good to talk to, and always open to a conversation. Max, before we run out of time, can you tell the audience how they can connect with you?
Absolutely. So the easiest thing is really LinkedIn, just at
Yes.
Max Novak, quite easy. Other medium is just a website, right?
Yeah.
And you can find me basically anywhere,
Yeah.
even Facebook. But
The
begin with
website's really
LinkedIn.
good. Yes.
Yeah, begin with the LinkedIn and maybe the website. Then
Yeah.
that's the two most important things.
Yeah. Well, Max, thank you for sharing your insights with us this evening on the show. I don't often get to talk to young people in your age starting an entrepreneurial journey, and what a privilege to actually chat with you along the way, to know from the idea that you wanted to do X, Y, Z, and then to see it progress into what you're doing now. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you so much. It's been such an honor and pleasure, and it's also very nice that you got to see the journey I was on. So
Yes,
thank you so
absolutely.
much.
It is lovely to see the fruition of your ideas and thoughts into something that, you know, will hopefully be something you do for many years to come. Congratulations on Novacast, the agency. I encourage our audience to reach out to Max today on those links that we mentioned. If you're watching this interview, please know that attached to it will be the links to connect with Max. Otherwise, jump on the Novacast website and you can connect directly with Max there. I can only recommend Max and his agency highly for getting you onto a podcast campaign. And for those of you who are in the alternate industries, connects with Max. He'll make your life a breeze and get you onto the best podcasts around. Max Novak, thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Tony.
And that, my friends, is your lot for this week. We will be back next week on the Everyday Business Show. I'm your host, Tony Lontis. You've been listening to the wonderful Max Novak from Novacast. Please join us again next week for another episode of the Everyday Business Show. Bye for now. Of shows with business owners that puts them in front of a global audience. And in behind those shows is a whole range of things, from digital magazines to social media to blogging to email to lead generation, just a whole range of things.